Hi, my name is Elena and I'm from Russia. I haven't been in the Warhammer community for a long time, and my friends, who is also my co-authors of this presentation even, brought me in this community. So we are young biologists and we are most interested in biological components of the Warhammer universe, like genetics, mutation, and the evolution of races. And for this conference, we decided to focus on the Tyranids as a biological interesting race. I mean, maybe one of the most biological interesting race for us. So today we report about Tyranid xenobiology compared to real-life eusocial insects. We will talk about three things in Tyranid xenobiology. Where features of morphology, specifically the different morphotypes and castes, and how we compare to insects on off. And another secret controversy issues in this topic, I mean topic one. The second, we will look at how Tyranids reproduce specifically the issues of population structure, sex determination, and type of reproduction. And the last question is about how Tyranids bioforms are formed. We will look at examples of eusocial insects on off and make some hypotheses about it. No? But for the start, it is worth explain why eusocial insects were chosen for comparison with Tyranids. To refresh your memory, just a second, the Tyranids are a race of purely biological creatures that do not use machinery or technology. All of their weapons are bio-weapons, representing either a highly modified Tyranid individual, morphotype, or a biosubstance, what we create, like bullet or bombs, or poison. I mean, the whole development is represented by biotechnological evolution, and only it. And if we consider the fact that Tyranid's weapons always strongly resemble ordinary weapons, we can even talk about convergent evolution with every race. But this is a topic for future presentation. And of course, this is half mind. It's a unique features for Tyranid. And if we talk specifically about insect features of Tyranid, it is of course 6 legs, mostly, I guess. Hemolymph instead of blood, chitinous cover, arthropod leg, and partial metamorphosis. The latter point is not a unique feature of insects. There are insects with 3-stage, partial metamorphosis, and 4-stage with pupal stage. As we will see further on, Tyranids clearly have the first variant with partial metamorphosis or 3-stage metamorphosis. Okay, we have dealt with the insects. Why insects? But now let's move on eusociality. Eusociality is the highest level of organization of sociality. It's characterized by the fact that some individuals do not reproduce and look after the offsprings of the breeding individuals. Such separation leads to a formation of castes with different behavior, like workers and queens or kings, which at the highest sociality even differ genetically. We'll also talk about this a little later, about genetic differentiation of the caste and another way how to caste could be different, could creation. In fact, such as social colonies are superorganisms. And the best known example are ants, termites, and honeybees. As can be seen from the definition, the Tyranids are a social superorganism at the highest level of eusocial development, with a clear division of responsibilities. A comparison of no facts and conclusions from eusocial insects may help us understand the xenobiology of Tyranids. Okay, so let's go to our first question. And here we already have a bit of problem. Magus biologists define Tyranids as extragalactic composite species of insectoid xenos. But in the next sentence, they describe them as variation on the same genetic theme. And this is a conflict. I mean, different morphotypes have different names, including Latin names. Based on Latin names, Tyranids are a community of different genera and species. As the first word in Latin defines genus like Tyrannicus, Rapacus, and Carnifex. And the second word is species names. We show that Tyranids are made up from different species, like it's a whole rice containing different species of creature. And it's not a comparison with humans, like because the humans is on one species. But if we look at exactly how they reproduce, the non-queen use asexual reproduction to produce all Tyranids bioforms in one fleet. Asexual reproduction means that offsprings are similar to the parents, and there is no specialization and partition. Partition on parents. The queen takes the basic Tyranid genome, actually copies herself, and adds alien genetic material to it, then asexual reproduction. The base is always unchanging because of asexual reproduction. I repeat it. And Tyranids are one species with many bioforms. This detail is important, really important, and should be discussed further in the context of xenobiology. Okay, we have figured out what we have a Tyranid central genome with new genes from raw materials and biomass from captured planets to produce new morphotypes of Tyranids. It turned out that we should be a genetic transfer between sometimes distant in evolution genetic groups like Tyranids and plants, Tyranids and humans, Tyranids and bacteria, and so on. In general, this is a working hypothesis, as we can observe similar things in insects. Pear aphids, you see it in the slide, are capable to synthesize carotenoids. Carotenoids is a special pigments to protect from UV ultraviolet light. So two genera of aphids have acquired them through the process of horizontal gen transfer. Simplified is then forest gens are directly inserted in the host genome. And these carotenoid gens was brought from fungi. Fungi and insects are very distant group in evolution history, but they can exchange gens, especially carotenoids. And we continue with first question. Eusocial insects have similar but less diverse morphotypes. These morphotypes have different roles in the community. Bees have only 3 morphotypes: queen, worker, and drone, or male. Termites and ants have more bioforms. They have a queen, king or chief male, and a separate caste of workers and soldiers. It's here. Ants have non-reproduction caste of different size, like major, media, or minor. If we make comparison, we see similar patterns in the morphotypes of eusocial insects and Tyranids. Non-reproductive castes of different size with slightly different tasks, like giant and Tyranid warrior in Tyranid race, and super major and minor creatures in ants. Also a group of workers who collect and deliver food, like honeypot ants in eusocial insects and reapers in Tyranids. And of course, a queen is much larger than the other individual in the hive, like non-queen in Tyranids and common queen in eusocial insects. So, as stated earlier, asexual reproduction occurs. We see it. There are many types of reproduction without fertilization. Parthenogenesis uses female gametes without fertilization by male gametes. In this case, the offspring will be either identical or nearly identical to the mother. Mitotic recombination is when cells reassemble their genome before division. And parasexuality is when multiple individuals recombinate their DNA without using gametes or fertilization. All of these types could be a way for Tyranids to reproduce asexually, but we don't know for sure without more research, of course. The queens keep the genetic bank of different genotypes from destroyed planets and use it to create a new bioform. She uses the Tyranid genome or pangenome as a base for this and adds the necessary genetic determination in it with the help of biomolecular machinery. We have discussed a bit about a possible mechanism of reproduction, but even asexual reproduction does not cancel out the presence of sex. Yes, we cannot deny that Tyranids may be sexless creatures, but their similarity to eusocial insects allow us to make a few hypotheses about the sex structure of population. Sex determination in Hemiptera, its honeybees and ants, is a haplodiploidy. Females develop from fertilized eggs and have a double set of genes called diploidy. Males from unfertilized eggs and have a single set of genes or haploidy genotype. If we assume this is true for Tyranids, there are two possible sexual population structure. If the queen copies herself, all Tyranids are female. All Tyranids. Where did the male go? Perhaps there was a reduction of the male sex due to its unnecessity, because asexual reproduction without fertilization. It's a variant of honeybees. But if the queen lays unfertilized eggs and in asexual reproduction no one fertilizes them, when the population structure is a follow. Females are represented only by queens, non-queens, and the workers are males, like a matriarchat. This variant is closest to ants. Okay, and moving to the last question. Magus Biologos Aldergaric notes that the queen creates and modified her offspring in response to external environment conditions, and this is the important factor in the reproduction of new Tyranid's bioform. This is not new mechanism, but also found in insects on-off. The phenotypes of an individual can change markedly in response to external conditions such as nutrition, and we discuss it follow, temperature or humidity. For example, butterfly eye spots are enlarged in response to temperature and humidity. Yeah. And it's worth noting that although change occur, the basis always remains stable. The basic genotype is stable. And of course, this helps them quickly adapt to a changing condition, like we saw in Tyranid's evolution. Eusocial insects are not exception. The caste and place in the community can also be determined by the condition in which they grew and developed. Bees define their role in the hive at the larval stage, when the queen larva and worker bee received different nutrition from nurse bees. The common genotypes remains only the degree of development of a reproduction system change. Like we have a genetic core, one genetic core, but different nutrition environment. Ants are also grouped into castes based on the next external condition. An adult ant can change its diet, which affects its reproduction function. It's for the upper picture. This can happen at the larval stage, the down picture. Then gen expression is switched on for queens and workers under the influence of pheromones and nutrition. All ants are born with a potential for either role, like in the right picture. But the environment effects may be just a small environment effects, affect how they develop and which caste were developed. In termites, however, both genotypes and environmental conditions can be responsible for the formation of caste. The left figure shows the only specific genotypes like here and here are complete reproductive individual. Like we have a specific genotype for queen and king and a specific genotype for workers. But of course, we have role replacement, but just for develop the new queen and kings, not for always. Regardless of the genotypes, the larvae can produce both reproductive individual and worker caste like in the right picture. The queen can also reproduce asexually, and it's really like in Tyranid, producing other queens, like secondary queens, to take her place in more developed colonies. So, also, as with of eusocial insects, Tyranids forms are determined by external conditions, but where in advanced they are an advanced space biotechnology race. Furthermore, instead of slow, natural, graduate evolution like enough, they carry out fast, artificial, precise evolution with help of genome editing by non-queens. Non-queens control the evolutionary course of a Tyranid swarm. When they arrived at the new target wall, alpha swarm was produced. And this alpha swarm bring information about environment on the planet to the non-queen. And it started of artificial evolution with mutation and genetic recombination and a new form of Tyranid selection of successful adaptive traits, but it's happened fast and accurate to the comparison of real evolution on Earth. So we have several conclusions. The Tyranids are a single species with multiple morphotypes. These morphotypes are likely formed through genetic transfer, utilizing genetic editing tools based on Tyranid pangenome. We help, of course, with forage genome collecting with planet. Both genetic factors and external environment play a role in the formation of new morphotypes of Tyranids. And of course, they do artificial evolution, not a real evolution, like biotechnology race. So thank you for your attention. Actually, this is my first forage conference, and I'm very glad that my abstracts were agreed to participate in it. I hope you enjoy my presentation.